You're watching Gearz.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, a while back, we had the privilege of introducing the Ram Express truck to the public. Now, the idea here from Ram was to offer a stripped-down, Hemi-powered truck to the masses so a person could take one and do whatever their imagination and budget would allow. Now, to show the validity of this idea, we took the very first Express, called it the Drag N Wagon, and then immediately tore the suspension apart to get the stance down and make it handle better. We followed that by sliding on bigger bare brakes to help us stop. And then threw on some Greening Automotive custom wheels and the fattest Falcon tires that we could fit in the wheel wells. That's Falcon tires for those of you that are taking notes. The bed was filled with all kinds of accessories to carry cargo, tools, toys, and of course dogs. And the body received a custom hood and paint scheme. The interior was next, and it was packed with leather, cat skin upholstery, and various other accessories from Mopar. Now at this point, we were ready to add some fire to the Dragon. So we shoved a procharger and some hotter coils down its throat. And stuffed a larger exhaust in its tail. But then the fire just didn't happen, because we were missing one key element, a programmer to tune the engine to work with the supercharger. And it wasn't just us. Everybody that owned a 2011 Ram or newer was out of luck, because Ram was not releasing the codes to the aftermarket. Fortunately, the aftermarket always finds a way. And the guys at Diablo Sport have just come out with this Trinity tuner that will allow you to finely tune a late model Hemi engine just by plugging this into the OBD2 port and punching a few buttons. This is huge. Now, I know some of you guys are probably thinking, well, that's great for a stock engine. What about something like this that's been modified? Well, it's a little more involved, but it's still pretty simple. Check it out. By working with the Diablo Sport calibration team and their software, you can literally dial in the engine through a series of tests and tweaks until you get maximum horsepower, torque, and economy. Well, it's running, just not very good. Now that's starting to feel good. The best part is, Diablo Sports has dealers all across the nation that can do this custom tuning for you if you don't want to mess with it. Now that the final piece of the puzzle is in place, it's time to show you the potential of a base truck with a V8 and a healthy dose of aftermarket attitude. All right. On the road, the Drag N Wagon feels smooth and stable, and turns in an amazing 20 miles per gallon, provided you don't stomp the gas too much. Around the cones, the lowered suspension, the sway bars, the wide performance tires offer tremendous handling for a truck, provided you don't stomp the gas too much. How about those Falcon tires? Stylistically, the regular cab short bed look is really cool. And other than the rumble from the exhaust, people will never know what's lurking under the hood, provided you don't stomp the gas too much. And for all-out performance, the supercharger will give you the ability to smoke pretty much anything on the road. Which is plenty of reason to stomp the gas over and over and over and over again. You know, most people dream of having a nice big shop to work in. And there's no doubt that the garage is rapidly becoming the most popular room in the house to turn into a man cave. But the problem is, if you don't lay it out properly, you could end up with a really big mess. And that's why a lot of shops end up looking like this, with junk stacked all over the place. And why we get a lot of questions from guys asking, how do you set up a garage to where it not only looks good, but it's usable? Well, like a lot of things in life, it's not about the size of what you got to work with. It's how you use it. Check it out. This is one of the first tool kits that I ever got. I bought this at a pawn shop a long time ago. And even though it's small, I built a lot of cars with this thing. And I still carry it with me when I go junkyard hunting. Now, the key here is not how many tools are in the kit, it's having the right tools in the kit and having them organized in such a way to where you can find them when you need them. That gets even more important the bigger the shop and the more tools you have. So, we're going to start with an area that most people have, a 1 or 2 car garage. We're going to show you some tips on how to lay it out. The first thing you may want to take a look at is some sort of a covering for the floor. Now, if you've got a big shop like this, a lot of fabrication going on, you probably don't want to mess with it. But if it's your home shop, you probably want something that looks better than this. This is called Flexi Tile. And this comes from a place called Elite Garage Floors. And it's a big tile made out of flexible plastic, very strong, available in different colors. And it just lays down over your existing floor and then connects to the other tiles through these fingers down the sides. Now, you don't have to prep your floor. You don't have to put down adhesive. About the most sophisticated tool is a rubber mallet. Now, once you get the floor in place, you know where your edges are. You take one of the edging pieces and just put it down along the edge the same way so you have a nice finished look. Now, obviously, since this is for a garage floor, these have to be tough. So, they're designed to handle sharp objects,
yes, master.
heavy weight and impacts,
Yes.
chemicals and solvents, even a reasonable amount of heat. And if you do happen to damage one of the tiles, you can easily replace it in just a few minutes. But the best part is how easy it is to install. Since all the pieces just lock together, it literally installs as fast as you can lay them down. And when you're done, you're not going to believe the difference it makes in the look of your garage or shop. All right, now that we got the floor taken care of, the next question is, where are you going to store your stuff? Stuff that doesn't go in a toolbox. Things like rags and paint and power tools. Well, before you go out and get a whole bunch of cheap shelving that's going to fall apart in a year or two, you may want to check into a cabinet system like this that we got from Herky. Now, this is the best way to utilize space along a wall to give yourself storage and protection for your stuff. But it also doesn't come out too far to where you're losing shop space. Also, another benefit of this kind of system is you got a wooden countertop here. It makes a perfect work table. Now, one thing that's important with a cabinet system is to get one that's modular so you can add more cabinets as you need them. You'll also want a system that will allow you to choose different size drawers so you can get what you need and you're not wasting space. Another thing that's important is to invest in a system that's going to be tough enough to be used in a shop. The Herky cabinets are all steel construction. The drawer slides will handle over 100 pounds. And the front panels are easy to replace if you happen to damage one. So, you know this stuff's going to last and look good for a long time. Hey, we're back and answering some of the questions that we get from you guys about how to set up your own dream shop or garage utilizing this space that you've got. Now, we've already talked about putting flooring down to give yourself a good working surface. We've talked about adding cabinets to give yourself some storage. Now we're going to talk about toolboxes. And this is an area where a lot of guys get caught into the bigger is better trap. They think they need a big, huge toolbox. Now, if you're building cars professionally, turning a lot of wrenches, well, you probably need a lot of tool storage. And there's companies out there like Cornwell that build huge toolboxes that you can add cabinets to and drawers and all kinds of stuff to where you have a tool station that you can almost live in. But most people don't need anything near this big. Most people only need a small toolbox to start with. Then as they add more tools, you add another box and then another box and so on and so on. That way you're not wasting space with a big toolbox that's only half full. Now, a lot of people realize that organization is a key to getting projects done in your shop. So we get a lot of questions about how to organize the tools in the box. Here's some suggestions. Standard and metric wrenches should be separated in their own drawers for easy access, as well as sockets of all configurations. Screwdrivers, pliers, and all other tools should also be separated and laid out in a way that they're easy to find and get to. Any broken or damaged tools should be set aside immediately so they can be fixed or replaced. The same organization needs to run through the rest of the garage. If you have nuts and bolts and hardware bins, they need to go together in one place. If you have metalworking tools and equipment, those need to be together in one area. Paint equipment, all together. Jacks and lifts, same place.
Go ahead and tag this thing.
Of course, you can't forget a place to play some tunes.
Hey, you want to put this one in for me?
A place for your dog.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And a place to relax after some hard wrenching. I mean, it wouldn't be a man cave without all that.
Now quick tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
You know, one thing that's frustrating when you're working in a shop is trying to keep all your wiring and tools and fittings together. Because everybody knows when you open one of these packages, those things go all over the place and you'll never see them again. So having some way to keep this stuff organized would be great. And there is a way to do it, but you're not going to find the answer at the local auto parts store. What you're looking for is an old fishing tackle box. And here's why. When you open this thing up, you've got all kinds of bins where you can lay out your ends and fittings so you can keep them organized. You got all kinds of room in here for tools and wiring. You'll be surprised how much junk you can stick in one of these boxes. The best part is you can pick up one of these things at a yard sale or a pawn shop for about the price of a cheeseburger, making this a cheap solution to a very common problem. If you'd like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
And now, Parts Bin, brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms.
There's no doubt that utility vehicles are popular because there is so much that you can do with something like this, from hunting and fishing to recreational use. But one of the best bangs for the buck for the Polaris Ranger is the Skyjacker Front Arm Kit. Now what this is tubular control arms, upper and lower for the front, special bracketry, and hardware that bolts right in place of your stock pieces. Now, what this does is lift the front end a little bit to level out the stance, moves the front tires forward so you can fit a 30-inch tall tire without rubbing. Now, you don't need a lift on the rear because it'll already fit a 30-inch tall tire. Now, the cool thing is, since Skyjacker designed this to utilize the stock ball joints and the stock suspension geometry, the vehicle's going to run and drive just like it did before you put this on, except it's going to be a little bigger, a little tougher, and a little redder. You know, everybody knows that one of the best companions you can have in the shop is a dog. The problem is, how do you keep them cool, especially on a hot summer day? Well, the guys at Chill Spot have got a solution to that. Check this out. This is called the Chill Spot, and it consists of an insulated base, some freezer packs, and some aluminum panels. Now what you do is you stick these in the freezer overnight, then you slide them into the aluminum panels. Now the insulated base keeps the packs cold, the packs keep the aluminum cold, and the aluminum keeps the dog cold for over 8 hours in 90+ degree weather. Yeah, that's impressive. Now, since this uses the science of thermodynamics to keep cold, there's no water, there's no electrical, and it is fully portable. If you've got a cool dog, you may want to keep him cool with the Chill Spot. You know, most people realize that one of the biggest challenges that they're going to face when they're building a custom vehicle is controlling heat. And there's nothing worse than building a cool rig that you can't drive because it gets too hot under the hood or inside. Well, Heat Shield Products has got the solution for any heat problem that you're going to have. Check this out. They've got Heat Shield Matte and Thermoflect cloth that are great for covering floors, firewalls, underhoods, fuel cells, air boxes, or whatever. And they'll handle 1100 degrees radiant heat and 500 degrees direct heat and reflect 90% of that heat away. If you want a little different look, they've got this stuff called Lava Matte that has a cool carbon fiber look, and it'll handle 1200 degrees and reflect 80% of the heat away from the part that's covered. Now, notice that all of these products are very thin and flexible and offer an adhesive backing. So all you have to do is just stick them on your part. That makes these perfect for areas where clearance is tight and heat's an issue. Now, if your headers are giving you problems, they also have all kinds of header wraps to take care of that. And if you have a serious heat problem, they have this stuff called Heat Shield Armor. And this features a 1/4 inch insulation and an aluminum backing. There is no heat going to be getting through that. If you drive your vehicle a lot on the racetrack or on the street, you got to keep the heat down. Heat Shield Products is one of the best ways to do that.
And now, what are you working on?
You know, it's a fact that most people's first car building project was some sort of a model kit, because they're not only fun to put together, but they're a great way to learn how things go together. And that's why we've done a model building contest with Revell for the last couple years. But the problem with those contests is that only cars were eligible. So this year, we've decided to open up the field a little bit. We're going to have 3 different categories. The first one is modern muscle cars, the new stuff, not the classic cars. The second is going to be classic World War II aircraft. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And then the third category is trucks, everything from pickups to big rigs. Now we've got us a contest. Now, just like the other contests, there's going to be categories for different age groups, different skill levels, so anybody can enter this contest and have a chance to win. Also, everything that you need to know about this contest, what kits are eligible, what the prizes are, how to enter, is right there on the Revell.com website. So, you airplane guys, you car guys, you truck guys, get yourself a kit and start working, because we want to see what you can do with a can of paint and a tube of glue. All right, now which one do I want to do here, man? Where'd that flying tiger go?